Hey, what is up, guys? Welcome, my witches, warlocks, and more. On today's video, as you all see, we did update the logo, and we're now the Wicked Witch of the Northeast. As you see, since the last time we talked, I got a bunch of rings, necklaces, and all of that. But my question is to you, are you a good witch? Or are you a bad witch? So, on today's video, we're going to be talking about a hex that I recommend people to do if they want someone to stop talking about them, basically. And then at the end, we'll talk a little more about updates in this, that, and the third. And we will go from there. Ooh. Now my saliva trying to kill me. So, the theme of today's video is hexes and curses. You may be like, Chris, let me take this down. Chris, what is the difference between a hex and a curse? A hex and a curse are basically the same thing in most witches' eyes. I personally try not to do hexes and curses unless it is necessary. So, that being said, do not do a hex or a curse for someone if it is not necessary. Because there are many people that do stuff like this for people, and something ends up happening with them themselves, or something happens with the person that they did the curse or hex for. There was a video that I saw on when I was doom scrolling of this witch, we'll call her that, whom did a hex to get a boyfriend away from a specific individual of the person that paid them to do this hex. So she does the hex, and they call her, and they call them, and they say, listen, can you break your hex? Me and the guy that I asked you to do this for are going to try to get back together, and we're working on it, and this hex that you did is causing a lot of issues with growing and strength and this, that, and a third. And this witch told that client, listen, you asked for the hex, I gave it to you. There is nothing I can do now. You're gonna have to break it yourself. I'm not unbreaking that. And then the client started going in on this witch, calling them a bunch of names, like very mean, derogatory names, like calling them fat, fake, this, that, and the third. So, that is why I say don't do hexes unless you are wanting, don't do hexes or ask for hexes unless you are wanting to deal with that type of situation. This hex that we're talking about today, it is the cow tongue hex. This hex is used for exactly what it is, binding someone's tongue. You use the cow's tongue to bind someone's tongue. If someone is talking bad about you and you don't want them talking about you anymore, or they are making you out to be this horrendous, horrible person, this is the type of hex that you would do for that individual. Now, I personally don't do this. When a client came to me and asked me if I could do this hex for them, I said, I'm not going to do the hex for you. you can do it yourself. Since you seem to be so much like wanting to get this done. So I explained to this client, I said, what you're going to do is you're going to get a cow's tongue. And then, mind you, this is an old European folklore type, like Caribbean, like the last time I did my research type of spell. So, Caribbean countries and European countries, this is a known hex. And this is basic witchcraft 101 with the cow tongue hex. So I told them what you're going to do is you're going to get a beef tongue, and then you're going to slice it, and you can either cook it or bury it, whatever one you want to do. And the pepper and what you need to get for the burning sensation is you get red, white, and black pepper. Basic pepper, you just pour it all on. And it gives that person, if they start talking bad about you, it gives them that spicy taste in your mouth, which is basically you saying, stop what you're doing, type of thing. I explained this to this client that asked me to do this hex. I said, this is what you do, and this is how you do it. And then you do a whole spell saying that you want to bind this person's tongue because they're being malicious. They have a malicious tongue. And they are just not seeming to care what kind of stuff that you can basically do to them. So I said, if they have a malicious tongue, you do the hot peppers, because it gives that a stop what you're doing or stop talking about me type of spiciness. I did a hex, like similar to that too, but I used glass jar peppers and the people's names, and I put it in my freezer, and to this day, it's been 1 year since I did it. To this day, those names are still in those jars in my freezer. I will not take those out until I move out of this place that I am currently living in. So I said, and what you're going to do is you're going to do counterclockwise for the beef tongue. And it undoes the evil of the malicious tongue of the person that is talking about you. And then, like I told them, I said, you could cook it, you could bury it. I recommend burying something like that because you're giving it back to the Mother Earth to recycle it back to the earth. Basically, you're recycling it back to the earth. You're making fertilizer for where you made it. And then I said, that's all you're going to do. That's all you're going to do. And then we'll see if that person continues to do so. I said, if they continue to use their malicious tongue towards you, I will figure something else out for you, and I will give you another hex to do for them, which is my jar hex that I have. And they were like, okay, that's fine. It's like, okay, whatever. Not a big deal. So they do it, and I was like, do not contact me, do not do nothing until you know for sure that the spell worked. And you let me know if this person is continuing to talk bad about you. And that was the end of that conversation. So, when I say I don't personally do hexes or curses or anything like that unless it is necessary. What I mean by unless it is necessary, if it is a malicious thing towards me, you bet your back end that I am going to do it to that person. I don't care about my morals at that. I've already done a bunch of stuff like this before with certain people, and certain people have come to me and they have apologized to me. And I was like, you want to know something funny? I did a hex against you, and I made it to where you're going to continue talking about me. That was going to happen. And their life was a mess. They had a very miserable life for a couple months until they came to me themselves and they apologized to me. And then that is when the curse broke. Now, another thing that I'm going to go on for is, I'm not saying anytime someone is talking bad about you, immediately curse them. I'm not saying that. Have some morals. If you have some morals, if you want me to be honest with you, have a little bit of morals. Have a little bit of support and ask them why they are doing these things to you, or why they are continuing to talk about you when they know that that's bothering you. Don't just immediately go to, oh, you're talking shit about me. Immediately like that, oh, I'm hexing you, or I'm cursing you. Don't do that. Because in my line of practice, when I did a hex or a curse myself, when I didn't know what I was doing, that came back to me 10 times worse than what I did when I sent it out. Because I didn't do the necessary protections, the necessary things to get to where I needed to be for that hex. And I did not do that. Since that day, I have never done a hex unless it was necessary. Now, again, this is called a beef tongue hex. Get a beef tongue. You slice it. You put red, white, and black pepper on it. And you cook it or you bury it. And then be done after that. Now that we're done with that, updates, stuff, and everything, I am going to try to do some, sorry guys, I had to plug my phone in. So updates, what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to post stuff. I have done a spell to take back my power. As you see, I'm back in my all black attire like I normally am with a couple of my old witch videos. I have a new altar set up. As you see, this altar setup is for Hecate, or the mother or goddess of witchcraft. She has come to me because I took my power back from the people that I helped. I grounded myself and I put boundaries up with people. That is why I have all these rings. As you see. All of them. And then I have my bracelets that represent her, the stones. So I'm going to try to do a little bit more things with talking more about the witchcraft, talking more about hexes, curses, this type of stuff. Basically opening your mind to the possibility of possibly being kind of sort of part of being a part of witchcraft. So I am going to try and post as much as I can. As you all know, I am a preschool teacher. My school, it does not go out for the summer. So the only time that I will be able to post videos would be on my weekends. And hopefully it gets enough traction that I start getting subscribers Like, share it, get it in the algorithm of doing that type of stuff. I'm going to start putting the hashtags of what I'm talking about in my description box when I make these videos. I'm going to make a video eventually about how all this happened and how Hecate came to me, and that is now my main patron deity, or my main patron goddess that I am going to be using in my craft. I have to find a statue of her. So if you guys have any suggestions of where I could find statues of deities, leave it down below in the comments, because I need to get statues. I need to get a statue of her. Because right now I have a white, black, and red candle. I don't know if you can see the white one. Those are the three colors that represent her. And I have my stuff because she represents the underworld or the crossroads. I have my skulls, my bones, a lot of my stuff. I have this guy. This is my little specter that is for my ancestor. Actually, no, he's not for ancestor work anymore. He's my little guide for the overall thing about the altar. Don't mind the necklaces that he's holding. This guy is, I feel like when I first got it, a spirit connected themselves to him, and this guy is obsessed with these skull and bone necklaces. But this is my little specter. And I have that on there to represent death, decay, that type of stuff. If you are familiar with red, black, and white candles, it represents red is blood, black is flesh, white is bone. That is what those candles and other practices represent. So I'm not going to go into that, but these are the three candles that I have for her. I have a crow here on the skull. I have my skull candles. I have my see, hear, and speak no evil thing right here. I have my other skull right there. Then I have my palm reading, and then my cauldron is in the back. And then I have a little cauldron right here that is my offering bowl for my patron deity. So I'm going to do a whole video on how this happened and how I connected with Hecate, and what spiritual coincidences happened when I was calling upon a sign. Looked up to the sky and I said, I need a sign. I need someone to give me a sign. I am going through a lot. I need to take back my power. I need to ground myself, this, that, and the third. And then that's when the animals came out of the woods and started walking towards me. So we're going to do a whole video on how Hecate connected herself to me and what things I grabbed that represent her, just because I was like, oh, that's a cute thing, and I grabbed it. So we're going to do a whole video on that. This video is going on almost 20 minutes. We're going to end it here. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell to be notified. Share this with your friends, families. Get me out there in that algorithm so more people can see and learn more about what I do as a practicing witch. I love each and every one of you. Have a blessed day and blessed be. Bye.